Hail the blizzard.
I don't care how I feel. You're going how you feel.
But that has got to be one of the dumbest names I've ever heard in my life.
Bro, someone spilled water in my fat bag of weed.
Fuck metal.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Blizzard Reacts. Today, I'm pretty excited for this. This is the new single from death metal supergroup Gruesome and their new single, A Darkened Window. This is the new single coming off the band's upcoming studio album, Silent Echoes, due out June 6th via Relapse Records. Gruesome is a really cool project founded by vocalist and guitar player Matt Harvey, who's also in Exhumed, who's also does the guitar work and vocals in Left to Die, which is the death tribute band featuring himself and former members of Death, including Terry Butler. But Gruesome is a really interesting project because they're kind of an homage to Death, especially with their first three albums kind of taking very much the sound and tonage from those early Death records. Example, on their 2018 album Twisted Prayers, that's very much an homage to Death's spiritual healing. Dimensions of Horror pays homage to Scream Bloody Gore, and Savage Land paying homage to Leprosy. Really kind of just honing into that just real dirty old school death metal that we're familiar from the Florida death metal scene in the early days of death metal in the late 80s. But really cool to see them kind of go even further than that, homage to the next era of Death, which is Death's fourth studio album, Human. So it seems that we're going to go to that direction now with this record and this release. No tours as of yet with Gruesome. Obviously, they're very busy doing a lot of stuff that they're doing with their many projects. All right, let's get into it. This is a new single from Gruesome called A Darkened Window, and let's get into it.
Tuck your fingers to the glass, reflected back at you. A mirage you cannot see past. A window shows you nothing, and you refuse to look outside. Rested by fear of something, the truth buried inside. Your facade begins to crack. To my eyes it's crystal clear. You're made of glass or prison, a self-defining mirror. The truth lies beyond the mirror, a world just out of reach. There you'll remain trapped within your own reflection. Your true emotions, but secret even from yourself. A mass that protects, find the forbidden. imaginary person. There's a very self you thought you were dead. A window shows you nothing, and you refuse to look outside. Rampage by fear of something, some truth buried inside. Your facade begins to crack, to my eyes it's crystal clear. You are made of glass or prison, unsoaked by the mirror. The truth lies beyond the mirror, a world just out of reach. There you'll remain trapped within your own reflection.
Wow. I loved everything about that single. Just adding these incredible progressive elements into it. Everything from the tone of the guitars to Matt Harvey's raspy vocals to even the band's new simplified logo, just like what Death did during that album cycle, and has kind of removed the gore aspect away from it, adding this more, sort of, I guess, this really different type of abstract album artwork that's still really cool but very eerie as well. I think Gruesome is just absolutely hitting it on the head when it comes to being, an homage to Death. There are a lot of bands out there that, they have a lot of, winks and nodges and, tips of the hats, how you doing, sort of things when it comes to bands that are influential to them. They say imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. But I think Death is I think what Gruesome is doing with the Death albums and just paying homage to guitarist, vocalist Chuck Schuldiner and the legacy he has created for death metal. Absolutely beautiful. There's a certain way that you have to go thinking about Death too, especially with this album in particular. When Death put out Human, it was very much different from the gore sort of stuff, stuff about zombies and death and guts and, dying, or even on Spiritual Hero when they were talking about, they sort of teased it a little bit on Spiritual Healing when it came to, talking about real world issues, propagandists, institutionalization, religious fanaticism, that type of stuff, kind of being a little bit more vocal about that sort of stuff. I think when Death put out Human, that's when they really took a dive onto, the human psyche, the human condition, what really kind of ties us all together as people, and, what, you are doing in your mind and what you have done and affected the world. And Chuck has absolutely put an incredible display of just some of the best death metal albums with those last 4 Death records. And I'm really curious to see how the rest of this album turns out from Gruesome. They have their new album Silent Echoes coming out June 6th via Relapse Records. Can't wait to hear more. Hopefully we go all the way through with this, with Gruesome. I hope we go all the way to Sound of Perseverance. And then we go and release, we go back to whatever they're going to call Mantis. Before Death, and maybe the Gruesome will do a version of Mantis of sort of stuff. But I don't know, that's the future. But I can't wait to hear new Gruesome. No tour dates as of yet. And again, everybody's busy. Matt Harvey's doing stuff with Exhumed. Their bass player Robin is doing stuff with Castrator. Everybody else is doing other things in their projects and all that. But really excited. Can't wait to hear some more Gruesome. Let me know what you think of this down below. What's your favorite song from Gruesome, from their eras and stuff? Make sure you go pre-order the new album. They got a bunch of really cool pre-orders on Bandcamp on relapserecords.com. So go check that out. Follow the band for more updates. Thank you guys again for watching. Make sure you guys like, share, comment, subscribe as always. Check out all my links down below for all my socials, including a link to the merch store. Support your boy. Spread the word of everything I'm doing here. And thanks again for watching, everyone. I'll see you on the next video.